All right, this is for all my guitar friends out there that are having problems with their with tuning issues. I live in the Northeast. When it's cold, it's super cold. When it's hot, it is sweltering. And you're taking the guitar from your house into an air-conditioned car or a warm car, and then bringing it outside in humidity and all sorts of temperature changes. And when you're playing, you'll notice that your guitar is always going out of tune while you're playing. I do 3 to 4 hour gigs, and with these techniques that I use, I tune, I don't know, once, twice just to check, and I usually don't have an issue. There's 3 different levels to this. The first one is the easiest thing you can possibly do, is you take your string and move them over, and then you can take a graphite pencil and just in the groove, just put a little bit of graphite in there, just rub it in there. And then when you put the string in, it has something to glide against. So you're not getting that friction. If you want to up your game from that, there is, Nomad makes a product called Tune It. You just take a little bit of grease, put a little dab in there, wipe off the excess, leave it on there. Doesn't hurt the guitar, doesn't remove the finish, and it'll glide. There's also something called Big Ben's Nut Sauce. Does the same thing. You just take this, put a little bit in the groove. All right? The other thing you can do is when you're stringing up your guitar, and when they say stretching your strings out after you change the strings, you're not really stretching the strings. They're metal. They really don't stretch. What you're doing is you're taking the windings on your tuning pegs here, and you're bringing them closer together so that there's nowhere for them to go. So when you're tuning, while you're tuning, what you want to do is take your hand, put it under the loose string, and then you're just going to bring this up and hold it down. And then you're going to, take your string winder, and then you're gonna tune it like that. By putting this pressure here, lifting up underneath and down while you're stringing it, you'll have enough play to get a couple of windings. I like to have like 3 windings on my strings, but it'll keep the string directly in the center. So if you look at it, on all my guitars, all the windings are super tight together, so that there's really nowhere for them to go. No matter what the humidity or what's going on, they're nice and stable. If it does go out of tune, it's minuscule. Also, you always want to make sure that the screws are always nice and tight and everything's secure. So, graphite, the nut sauce that goes on here, and when you're tuning, just make sure you lift this up, hold it down, and then tune the end. Only takes one hand, and it'll keep everything directly in the center. And it'll just go. You don't have to do a Luther's knot. You don't have to do any wraps or special windings on it. I just put it there and let everything go directly underneath. That's step 1. This is the easiest thing you can do without doing any modifications. The second thing you can do, if you want to that's not working, your strings are nice and everything's fine over here, but it's still going out of tune a lot, and you don't really want to take it in for a $100 setup. You just take an emery board or a little piece of sandpaper, fine grit, I don't know, like not that fine, like maybe 200 grit, and you're just going to take the emery board and you're just going to go inside the nut, inside the groove. Sandpaper works a little bit better. Now we're not going down, we're just opening it up wider. If you have your heavier strings than the manufacturer wanted to put on there, your strings might be getting caught inside the grooves here. That's going to be an issue. The other thing you can do is to make sure everything's nice and secure, if we come over here to the bottom of the guitar, on your bridge, you can lift up, you take out one of your pins, And you can see how you have, there's like a groove inside your guitar pins and where it goes up against the string. What I like to do is I like to take that piece of sandpaper and make an angle so that I got a little bit of a point and it goes on a curve. This way, when I put this against my string, I know that string isn't against the bottom end of that pin and not just hanging there. And then as things expand and contract, it moves up a little bit and up a little bit up until it hits against the bridge. You really want to avoid that at all possible. I also like to open up the slots that the string sits in right against the edge here. I also bring that in. I cut it in just a little bit. This way, nothing is binding. I can lift my pins right out without using anything special. I've never had a problem. It goes right back in. Now, when the string is moving or the wood is moving because of the heat or the cold, we know that the ball end is up against this bridge. No problems. That's level 2 with a little bit of sandpaper. Level 3 of setting up your guitar, you're still not happy with it. You're still not thrilled with the way this is working. The sandpaper really didn't do what you wanted it to. You didn't really want to go in that deep. There is something else you can get. You can get a file set from like Music Nomad or StewMac or whoever you want. And inside, you have different nut slots where you can open it up. So if you're using bigger strings than the factory put in there, you can take this and you can just slide it in to the groove and just lightly start opening it up a little bit. Again, you don't want to go down. You want to go off to the side. And they all have different sizes on them, and you just find the ones that fit your string set and make sure that it's nice and open. And that's really it. There's nothing else that I do really outside of the first 2 things that I showed you. I just opened up I widened up my nut slot. I put the graphite I actually put both, the graphite and the tune it, and I don't have any issues. I play shows all night long in a hot bar or in a cold, freezing bar, and no issues. So I hope this helps. If there's any comments or any better way of doing things, let me know. But remember, the graphite, getting your string windings as close together as possible, and you'll be aces. I hope this helps. Bye.